Yeah. Good evening, friends. Yeah, I will deliver today's seismic inversion and its basics. So I think it will be useful for you. So basically, uh, I would like to start from the disclaimer because I'm working in a company. So actually, the content of this presentation are for informal purpose only. Immersion makes no representation or warranty about the accuracy or suitability of the information provided by this presentation and related materials. And nothing in this presentation constitute professional advice or consulting services. So no contractual relationship with the immersion is established by attending or viewing this presentation, and no right to intellectual property of immersion are granted through this presentation. The opinion expressed by the presentation are those of the author, it's me, and do not necessarily represent the views of immersion. Right? Okay. So I will covering today actually what is seismic inversion, why it used, and what is basic seismic type, and I will show a workflow and how will you do the QC of the inversion, and I will present a case study of the application of inversion which I have written in 2014 in the leading edge SEG paper, SEG journal, and discussion. Friends, it will be very interactive session, so please feel free ask any question during presentation. So there is no bar basically, right? So I'm audible? Hello?
Yes, sir, you are.
Yeah. Okay.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, okay.
Yes, sir, you are
Okay.
audible.
Okay. Nice. So let's start the seismic inversion. So without forward modeling, no inversion is complete. First, you have to understand the forward modeling. What is forward modeling basically? Have you heard about the synthetic generation? Anybody?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. So,
Yes.
yeah. So this is our geology. You can see my cursor.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, this is geology. Is my our mother earth is like sand, shale, limestone. So many layers are there, and when and we know if we know the our actual layers and impedance, and we can compute the reflectivity, and we convolve the wavelet, then we will get the seismic trace, which is interface property. But be careful. In this case, forward modeling, you know your input like impedance, reflectivity, everything, and wavelet, you everything know. So if when we are getting such output, when we know from known, then this is called forward modeling or synthetic generation. You can generate so many model, and you can generate so many model and generate the seismic trace. So these are the forward modeling. But what happens if you have only the seismic data, you don't know the wavelets? So from data to the layer property, it is called seismic inversion. So in this case, you have to estimate your wavelet and then deconvolve it, and then you have again try to estimate the reflectivity series, and then you can compute the impedance, which is a replication of the geological model. So there is a basic two different. So you can say in other hand, seismic inversion is a transformation of reflection data in the rock property volume. It may be P impedance, S impedance, density, blah blah blah. Right? Okay. So let's understand it with other slide. Well, friend, this is our reservoir. It's gas sand reservoir, and I have drilled suppose one well, and we got the hydrocarbon, and we know the here what is the porosity of the reservoir and permeability of the reservoir, what is the sand nature, everything. But what happens? Suppose we wanted to drill a well 3 kilometers away from this well. So where we will drill? What parameter we need to know? Suppose you are the CEO of the any company or general manager of the company, and one well cost is around $100 million. Means if you convert in rupees, it's 700 800 crore rupees. So it is a very risky game. So how will you decide? So basically, so inversion is one of the tool which can predict the reservoir property away from the well. So it's the most important of the inversion in the our oil industry. So we predict the porosity, lithology, and fluid saturation. So according that, we can plan the development well from where we can extract the maximum output of the oil and gas, whatever we want. Okay. So seismic inversion, actually basically you can say it characterizes your whole reservoir, means in terms of porosity, permeability, fluid nature, impedance nature, everything. And other hand, it also reduce the cost of the wells, because suppose your well will be dry, you will lose your company, actually your company profit will lose, so you care. So it is both science plus your economic condition also. So in, so it is a, I mean, more about the seismic, I mean, inversion, why we use, and how will you do the inversion, basically what type of, basically main type of inversion, only post stack and pre stack. Anybody can say what is post stack data? Any final year student can say what is post stack? Hello, 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 I'm audible?
Yes. Yes,
Yeah.
sir.
So
Sir, I
see,
think
yeah.
someone is speaking.
Yeah. So yeah, what is post stack basically? I'm just wanted to understand, because it is interactive session. I can speak this presentation only 30 minutes, no issue. But I wanted to know what is your you people idea or basic about seismic. What is post stack data? Anybody?
Sir, it is a zero offset simulated data, sir. Hello.
Okay.
And
So
accordingly, sir, we have the data sets accordingly with the different angles, but we want to make a wholesome idea at zero offset. So we combine all the data set at a particular offset, which is zero offset, and that we call it post stack data.
okay.
So it is basically zero offset simulated.
Excellent. Excellent. But what it means, basically, if you are adding the data and stacking it, you will get a section, right? Okay, you will get section, and when you invert it, then output will be the p impedance volume only. So post stack inversion gives you only post p impedance volume. You have to use the extract the wavelet from the data, and it calibrate it, and p impedance log from well log data, and output will be p impedance. So any post stack data, post stack inversion will give you p impedance volume, right? And auto pre-stack inversion, pre-stack inversion apply on the angle ladder or partial stack. You know partial stack, anybody? If you know, you tell me, otherwise I will explain you. Partial stack, I know you will know the gathers, but what is a partial stack? Hello? Partial stack is basically when you generate the angle stack, we suppose 0 to 10 degree, 10 to 20, 20 to 30, 32 degree, using of the velocity, you can generate it. So if you generate, suppose 4-5 angle stack, so there will be 4-5 wavelets, and log will be p impedance, s impedance, density. Because in p impedance, zero offset data, you ignore the actually yes impedance property. Basically you are ignoring the our fluid property and our lithology issues, because far angle gives you the your lithology and gas presence or hydrocarbon presence. But in post stack inversion, if you are adding your data, you are ignoring all those things, so you are getting only p impedance volume. So it is a main disadvantage of the post stack inversion. And pre stack inversion, if you use, so you will can get the p impedance volume, yes impedance volume, density, not acoustic property. I mean it will be the your elastic property like p, yes impedance, density, lambda rho, mu rho, Lamy parameter, everything, modulus of rigidity, you can generate anything. So this is basic difference of the pre stack inversion and post stack inversion, right? So let's again, what is issues in the inversion? Actually, what is non-uniqueness? Anybody know non-uniqueness and ambiguity? Hello? Ambiguity in a,
Yes.
yeah. What is ambiguity? What you saw?
Sir,
What you can say?
Yeah, so the ambiguity means the non-unique solutions.
Very good. So can you give any example? Okay, suppose
Yes, sir.
let give me
Suppose,
example in gravity. Gravity. You can
okay,
give any
sir.
example in gravity. Okay.
Yes, sir. Suppose the density of two rocks, the range of density of two type of materials are lying in same region. Then suppose it's sandstone and another rock. Some portion of
Uh,
I mean, if we do survey, gravity survey, and we get the gravity anomaly, it may be the first rock or it may be the second rock. If
yeah,
their density lie
yeah,
between
yeah, right. But you can easily say, what your name, gentleman?
Vishal
As
Pandit.
Vishal, let's understand very carefully. You know the equilibrium theorem of the gravity? Actually, rho h. Actually, basically, I will rho into h means density into thickness of the bed, right? Okay. If
Yes.
if you are fitting a model, suppose you get any anomaly, here a number of permutation and combination you can get. Number of model can fit for that particular anomaly value, right? Suppose in case, suppose here impedance I am giving the example. So here 4000 impedance, if multiply by density you will get 6000. And second case there is a 3000 meter per second velocity and density is 2. Again you will get this 6000. So for a single P impedance value, there can be multiple solutions. So there is no unique solution. So that's why all the inversion method, where it is a seismic inversion, where it is a density inversion, or you can electromagnetic, you can, all the inversion method suffers non-uniqueness problem, and no single solution, no unique solution. So this is a main problem of the inversion. So how will we start out? Because we start out with initial guess model. Okay, so I will explain later what is initial guess model. Let's just, I wanted to give a brief, uncertainty in the inversion. So let's see. So it's basically what seismic inversion do. I have explained earlier, you can read it. Seismic inversion, it is tool to produce rock properties by using the seismic reflection data, and it can predict the porosity, permeability also, and further it can use the reservoir modeling. I will explain the reservoir modeling what is, right? Okay. Again, so there are so many methods of inversion. Suppose you are in any company, so according to your reservoir, according to your data, your problem, so you have to do the inversion. So there are basically 4 or 5 methods. I have explained post-stack and pre-stack earlier, and basically color inversion, model based, and sparse type. They're basically main methods which we use in our oil and gas industry. So I will explain you. This is important. Post-stack inversion. This is a color inversion, is a type of post-stack inversion. Actually, what it does, basically, at the well, we have basically any field, we have two data set. Only one a well data and second is our seismic data. So it uses both the spectrum, seismic spectrum as well as the well data spectrum, which is computed from the impedance, right? And it generates an operator, and it used to convert the seismic data. So right, so this is an example. You see, this is our seismic, and this is color illusion. You can see how vertical resolution is enhanced. So color inversion we use when we know that there is less resolution in the seismic data and interpretation is a bit difficult. So we do the seismic inversion. It helps the interpreting the reservoir extent, right? So you can see that I have computed the spectrum of both the spectrum comparison of both the data set, that is a seismic as well as color inversion. So you can see that color inversion frequency bandwidth is greater than our initial seismic. But anybody can tell what will be the disadvantage of this method? Hello? Tell yes or no, no issue. I'm audible?
Yes, sir.
Yeah,
Sir, I don't have the idea.
no, it's good.
Right.
Well, I'm just asking because you people have read the paper, literature from the central library. So actually I was thinking that you know, no issue. Suppose you are generating the inversion operator. So if operator is not correct, So what will you invert? You are going to invert your noise, right? So this is disadvantage, and your unnecessary frequency may be enhanced, which may not be present in the data. So from QC you have to make the seismic tie of the new inverted data, and then if events are, I mean, correlating, then it's fine. So basically seismic, this is color inversion is advantages, it enhance the frequency, you can do the interpretation. Suppose there is thin bed, you can interpret that also, but basic drawback is, yeah, we can, I mean, unnecessary, we can enhance our frequency. So that is second method. Let's understand second method. Second method is model based inversion. Okay, see what is a model. Basically when in non-Euclidean problem, we have seen that there is so many solutions for a single, I mean, impedance value or anything. So we wanted to minimize that risk, basically that uncertainty. So we make a initial guess model. Suppose if we know about the area, suppose in the seismic we have well and we have the interpreted horizon, so we know something about the area. So we interpolate our impedance value throughout the area. That will be our initial guess model. And that will be also called deterministic model. And you can say that it is also called low frequency model. There's several names, but this is just a initial guess model, which you are giving your basic on your own interpretation, your knowledge of the area, right? So what it does, model based inversion does, you estimated wavelet convolve with this model and generate the synthetic, and it compares the with your actual seismic and minimize the error using least square method, and best possible where threshold is reached or solution is converged, that will be your best possible solution of the inversion, right? So this is model based inversion. Model based inversion is fine, but disadvantage of the everything is advantage every inversion, but I was telling also this one advantage also. There is a number of bells should be there, otherwise your guess model may be problematic. So this is, and second one, friends, let's understand this seismic bandwidth. Generally, what is the seismic bandwidth? Anybody tell? What is seismic bandwidth?
Yes, sir.
Generally, what
Yes, sir,
range you expect? Yeah.
Yes, sir. The seismic data generally lies between 10 to 70 hertz.
10 to 70 years. Very good. It is nowadays best technology are here, so it is computed for 4 to 70 years. You can, yeah, very good. So Vishal, if we do the inversion in within seismic band, that is called band pass inversion, right? So one other case, and when we fill this gap of the lower end gap of frequency with this model, because we add this model to this seismic bandwidth, this is called absolute inversion of output. So anybody ask you what is a band pass inversion and what is a absolute inversion, then you have to tell band pass inversion is basically done within the seismic band, and absolute inversion is we fill the lower end frequency with low frequency model. LFM means low frequency model. So it's always there are two types of output, basically seismic inversion, absolute inversion and band pass inversion. Okay. So second method is of the inversion is sparse spike. It's the most important because nowadays this algorithm is used in industry. Actually, sparse spike inversion, basically assumption is that our mother earth is made of the spikes or acoustic interfaces, right? So if mother earth made it acoustic interfaces, so it can be the represented by the reflection coefficient. So we can model our seismic trace using and adding the minimum number of spikes, means sparse spike. So that's why it's called the sparse spike inversion. So again, it is using the background model to constrain the spike inversion, sparse spike inversion. So this is called constraint sparse spike inversion, basically CSSI. So again, method is same, only modeling purpose is here different because you are adding and subtracting the spikes to model the trace. This is model trace, this is seismic. So ideal condition, both should be equal, but it is not, because Earth is very complex, so you can't do. So this is a residual. Difference between seismic and model trace and seismic original seismic trace, it is called residual. So any inversion method, if you are doing the inversion, residual will be minimum. Means residual means error will be minimum. When error will be minimum, your output will be more authentic, right? Okay. So sparse spike expansion also enhance the geology. So what is drawback of the sparse spike inversion? Let's understand. Suppose you are adding more spikes to generate model trace. Unnecessary, again you are enhancing the resolution of the data, which is not resolution of the data and frequency, which is not present actually in your seismic data. So this is the issue. So your parameterization is a best. I mean, if you are doing the best parameterization in this inversion, then it will be very fruitful. Okay. So this is sparse spike inversion. So we have covered the post-stack inversion, pre-stack inversion, color inversion, sparse spike inversion. So I will show you how will you do. Actually, it's a very general workflow that is made by me. So when you will join with some reputed company, you can change this workflow, no issue. But general workflow is like that. So what input data should be in inversion? Suppose you are going to do the inversion, your seismic data basically. Seismic data may be pre-stack or post-stack. When you are doing the pre-stack, then you have to gather or partial stack. When you are doing the post-stack, you have to post-stack data. And well log data. Well log data means your impedance log, yes impedance log, density log, your basic log basically, that should be present. And BSP from well to seismic type, and your interpretation of the area. So you have to also concern with the geologist how much interpretation is reliable. So your interpretation horizon. So using well logs and horizon and fault, you will make the low frequency model, and then using well log and seismic data, well to seismic calibration. I will explain, but just I am giving the workflow. And then inversion and inversion result, and from the inversion output you can generate the porosity and permeability, whatever you want. I mean, let's understand. Okay. Again, this is important. I have told you that well data will be necessary in the for the any inversion. So you have to cross plot basically all the your well data. That is called petrophysical analysis. Suppose before going to inversion, you have to understand which property your gas, sand or reservoir is separated. So you have to cross plot, because at the well you have to P impedance, yes impedance. So this is P impedance again. Our sands are, I mean, separating. And if you are cross plotting P impedance and BPBS, you can say, look, again here our reservoir sand is separating. So mean to say, in elastic property, gas sands are very well separated. So when you do the petrophysical analysis at the well, then you decide from here which property you have to generate through the inversion. Suppose in BPBS, P impedance, yes impedance property are very well, I mean your gas sand is very well separated, then you will generate that output in 3D volume. Okay. Let's start. I will give the example of full stack, then one example of pre-stack also. And I would like to say that this is my, I mean, published paper. This is published in 2014 in the leading edge SEG. So nothing is, I mean, hide. You can download that paper, or I will send to Satyam both the paper. So no issue. So friends, this is our post-stack data, and we encountered two gas sand basically. One is a reservoir and second is reservoir 2, and we have all the basic logs, sonic, yes, sonic density and impedance. So we can say that both the data set have good amplitude, and it is delineated from the background reservoir and reservoir 2. But you know that before going to any inversion, you have to do the forward modeling. I have explained you earlier. So I did the forward modeling. So this is a full stack seismic, this is a synthetic, and this is a, I have blocked that log and convolved with this wavelet. So you can see that upper reservoir is very high amplitude, it is matching with upper reservoir amplitude in the seismic. But lower reservoir is a bit feeble amplitude, which is not matching with, I mean, lower sand in seismic. So our forward model is not matching in the seismic. So you have to do the forward model to understand your the reservoir. You can't go to directly from doing the seismic inversion. Yes, just click the button and inversion will be happen. So you have to understand the reservoir. Then we have to investigate why in seismic amplitude is high, and in our forward model in synthetic it is not coming so good. So again, let's investigate in the gather, right? Hello, anybody know the AVO you have learned? Hello?
Yes, sir. We have learned AVO, sir, and it's 4 classes also.
Okay, so what about the class 2 AVO? Anybody? Class 2P? Anyway, okay. So I will explain. No issue. I'm just asking because you should be, connected to this presentation, because everything otherwise you pass on your head. So that's why I'm. So in a post-stack modeling, you can see that lower sand is not showing good amplitude. So I stacked the gather from the seismic data, and they say upper reservoir. Upper reservoir is top of reservoir. You can see that amplitude is decreasing in negatively. So this is class 3 AVO clearly. And when we are doing the AVO analysis in second sand, this is a very low, impedance contrast. So means there are 3 or 4 types of AVO. So class 1 AVO, obviously I will explain, because otherwise you will lose. Class 1 AVO is basically high impedance sand compared to upper and lower lithology. Suppose you assume a sandwich model. So in between sandwich, your impedance should be high. First case, class 1 AVO. Your sand impedance is very high. And class 2 AVO, your sand impedance more or less equal or same above and below, underlying and overlying. Then there will be class 2 AVO. So you can see that this is amplitude, and basically this is intercept. So it is very close to 0. So it is class 2 AVO. And here you can say in class 3 AVO, your amplitude is very low in negatively. So your intercept is minus. So it is class 3 AVO. So please friends, you should what you are reading, so you should be always in your mind, because then you are able to do the work and explain it properly. Because okay, so we can see that lower reservoir there is a basically class 2 piece, class 2 reservoir sand. So that's why impedance value intercept is basically impedance. So that's why impedance value was showing very feeble there. So we have investigated, right? So again you can see this or angle gather. So there is 2 types of gather: offset gather and angle gather. You can use the velocity, seismic velocity, you can convert it the angle gather. It is very simple. So again you can say angle gather also. Upper reservoir is a very good class 3 AVO, and lower reservoir is a intercept, near offset is a very feeble, and when we going to far offset, it is a good amplitude, same good amplitude. So again it's class 2 AVO is here. So in both cases we have investigated, right? So next step, crucial step, is built to seismic calibration. So anybody know, can tell me about what about calibration? Any type of calibration? Hello? What means of calibration?
Sir, calibration means with the known quantities, you have to find out what can be the properties or the proper physical properties you are looking for unknown one. So calibration is very important, and it is actually done in a lot of fields. as far as seismic calibration is concerned, sir, we are using well-logged data set to calibrate our seismic data set. So basically what happens, we know that well-logged data is actually a point one-dimensional data set, whereas your seismic, it is an aerial coverage. So we at a particular point, with the help of well log, create synthetic seismogram, and accordingly at that particular vicinity we try to match with the interfaces of the horizons, and this is actually what we mean by seismic to well
Okay,
calibration.
let us understand very layman type. Suppose you have purchased a watch, right? So at that time is not your, I mean, set with the, and what time is, suppose you have purchased now and now 6:10, so you have to calibrate 6:10 that watch. So in the seismic data, what happens, friends, your log in a depth domain and your seismic is suppose in time domain. So you use the wavelet and generate the salinity. So you are basically assigned the event what is in depth and in time. Okay, this is the call basically calibration using the well to seismic tie or well to seismic calibration. This is called, because why we do, because it is very useful in wavelet extraction. So initially we assume that we are using the wavelet, extracting the wavelet from the seismic, right? So if there is a post stack inversion, there will be one wavelet, and if there will be a pre stack inversion, there will be so many. Suppose it depending on the how many stack you are using. So these wavelet are initial wavelet. It is not real true wavelet. It is initial wavelet. When we apply it on the well to seismic tie and we calibrate, and again we extract the wavelet from the data. See, shape of the wavelet will change. That will be your estimated wavelet. So bell to seismic tie is a very crucial role in extracting your wavelet basically, because in forward modeling you know your wavelet, but in inversion you don't know. That's why bell to seismic tie is very important. Well to seismic calibration or tie is very important in the seismic inversion to extract your wavelet, true wavelet or near wavelet, near true wavelet, right? So so that's and when you use a single stack, this will be the single wavelet. Otherwise, number of stacks, so there will be number of stacks, number of wavelets. No issue. So again, look this. This is our initial wavelet which we have taken, and now it is a calibrated wavelet extracted from the calibration. See, shape of the wavelet is changed, and spectra is almost same, but shape of the wavelet change. So you are estimating your wavelet basically. So that wavelet will be used to invert the seismic data basically. So be careful about that.
Through statistical, I mean, we are extracting a statistical wavelet in these all cases, or
Yeah,
deterministic?
very good question. What is your name?
My name is Akashdeep, sir.
Okay, Akash, see, uh, it depends upon what we would like to extract from the statistical wavelet from the seismic data, right? But you can also start from the recurve wavelet, no issue. But in seismic, but problem will be only that when we are extracting statistical wavelet from the seismic data, amplitude spectrum will be covered, so there will be no issue. But in statistical wavelet, you have to give the frequency range, and you have to add your amplitude spectrum to that I mean recurve wavelet. So you can start from anyone. You can start from statistical or choosing a recurve one. But you have to last your seismic spectrum should be covered in that wavelet, right? Hello.
Okay, sir.
It is clear for you?
Yes, sir. Okay, sir. Thank you, sir.
Yeah.
Yes,
So
sir. It is clear, sir. Right now, now I can get idea how to choose the wavelet.
yeah, very good. Please ask. Feel to ask anything. Nothing is. I mean, I'm not your professor here. Yeah. So friends, again, now if you are going to inversion, we have done, I mean, generated the background model, which I have told you, impedance and horizon. We have interpolated. Suppose it is single well, and we have interpolated this impedance value throughout the area. And this picture I have taken from the Emerson, my textbook. So it is also published, so no issue, right? And after well to seismic calibration, this is a inverted result. So this is inversion. This is a band pass inversion. I have not added the frequency. I mean the low frequency. You can see both the reservoir are very well defined. But how will QC? You extract the pseudo log from the seismic and filter your actual log and pseudo log same frequency bandwidth like a 5 to 60 hertz. So you can see our inverted and actual. Our green one is our actual bell log and red one is our pseudo means inverted bell log. It is a fairly matching from lower upper range. It means your inversion is fine. If it is not matching, that means that you haven't your parameter is wrong, your wavelet estimation is wrong. So at the well, your inverter property should be matched. If it's not matching, then inversion is wrong. So this is one of the QC I'm just showing you. Let's second. So if you know your reservoir, you extract your amplitude at that reservoir horizon, and that reservoir extension should be matched. If it is not matching, again your inversion, we have to look the parameter again. So there are two reservoirs, suppose number 1 and number 2. So both are coming. So it means that your inversion is fairly good. So again, suppose you have done your simultaneous inversion. So what will be the output? Basically P impedance, S impedance, Poisson ratio. It may be density also, it may be BPBS also. So don't worry, if you have computed P impedance and S impedance and Poisson ratio, so you can divide P impedance upon S impedance, you can compute BPBS. So there will be so many outputs. So I am seeing only 3. So again, see, I have filtered the actual log is overlain on the property. So you can that is also fairly matching. So again, inversion is up to mark. So again, you check. I have extracted the P impedance as in the BPBS. I think there should be density. I'm sorry. It is twice. It is BPBS is here. This is density. So again, you can see that your reservoir and both the P impedance, BPBS and density is fairly matching. So means your optimization of parameter is good. You can do the QC another hand also. You can cross plot P impedance, inverted P impedance and actual P impedance. It should be come in a straight line. Y means y is equal to mx of c line. When c is 0 means it is 45-degree gradient. So if it is 0, so it is means both the property is prediction is your fine. It is a P impedance and S impedance. Similarly, these are the QC basically. Hello, you can ask question. No issue. I'm telling you. Application of the inversion. Suppose how you will utilize the inversion your production of well or development of well. Yeah, if you are developing any field of gas field or any oil field, so how will you use this? So this is again one of my paper which I have published in 2017 SPG Jaipur. So let's understand. So this is seismic section passing through. You can see the from map passing through the both the well A and B. So this is our gas sand, very high amplitude, and below that GWC gas water contact. This is a water basically. So we wanted to we are going to develop the field, so we have to capture the water sand extension, because if water will be entered in the reservoir during production, the production will be lost. So I use this method basically, and this is our impedance. So I've generated the impedance log, but I find that gas sand is coming very well in the impedance, but water sand is not I am able to capture. So what I have to do? Then I have generated the density volume. Basically density of either gas sand, water sand. If that is sand, that will become, because their porosity content is there. So I have generated the density volume and porosity volume. This is a porosity volume and this is density volume. You can see that your gas sand and water sand porosity volume you can easily demarcate it, and water can be exist here. So I give this volume to reservoir modeler and geologist. I told them you just run the simulation basically, and they run the simulation. They see what happened. If we don't use the density volume, this is our original location. water will enter so far. So production will be only 1.5 year. You can see how it impact. Production will be only half an year. Your well will be shut down. And when we simulated using the water sand, capturing the water sand, and then we located new well, and there production is very 6 year. So this is a main important of the inversion or prediction of the reservoir, friends. Okay, hope I have given you something, or and let's this is a reference. You can see both of the paper. You can go and download and read it. Any question, any query, you can ask me. I'm able to. I'm always able to. For you people. So thank you very much.
Hello. Thank you for such a sir. Hello.
Yeah, I'm listening.
Hello.
Hello.
Sir, thank you for such a wonderful. Yes, sir. Thank you for such a wonderful talk, sir. Sir, I have. Sir, we generally talk about low frequency model, but we never talk about actually what happens when we go beyond seismic limit. I mean, beyond the 100 hertz. I mean, I'm talking about high frequency component.
No. Yeah, I understand your
this.
question. Actually, you wanted to ask, sir, if you are adding the low frequency model from the well log and horizon, basically from background, and why you are not increasing your higher end frequency, right? Hello?
Yes, sir, of course, sir. And
yeah, right.
yes, sir.
See,
That's actually what I wanted to ask.
Yes. Because see, that may be possible only shallow seismic. Because in shallow seismic only 500 meter up to depth you can generate such type of the frequency you can get. But when you are extracting the 4-5 kilometer you are going, that frequency not optimum, because that is observed. So you can enhance the frequency using the color inversion or spectral bluing, one of the method. But again it is a question what my concern is only whether it is enhancing your noise or signal. Friends, this is the basic problem. We are also facing this problem, but now the technology of 300 hertz is not available, and you can enhance the frequency using spectral bluing or amplitude balancing, spectral bluing using the well log data. But at the well it is fine, but what is away from the well, suppose 3-4-5 kilometer, how the frequency enhancing, it is true or wrong. So that is basically problem. So that's why we don't do this, enhance your frequency at higher end like 200, 300. Hello.
Yes, sir. And well log data, it is a high frequency data, sir, and
Yes.
we are expecting low frequency from it.
See. Your well log data in 1000 hertz. You can see that. It's a 15 meter sampling, 15 centimeter sampling. Okay, of course, well data has very high frequency, but you can't. Our seismic can't go from there. There is not any method. If you are, you can imagine generally seismic resolution. How much seismic resolution? Can you tell me? Only 10 to 15 meter. But if you want, your desire is, resolution should be 1 meter or 15 centimeter. My desire is also, but I'm sorry, right now, such type of technology is not available. Yes, maybe future you can go something. Because again, concern is when you're recording, you know that when you're recording your seismic data, you depend on your Elias frequency, maximum 150 to 250 hertz. Beyond where you can't go basically. So there will be a recording issue, there will be your geophones and all. It is total logistic issue from acquisition, processing, and interpretation we have to see. So right now this is a problem. Yeah, we can't do up to 100 hertz or 100 up to 100 hertz. It is too much. Actually, we don't rely that data. If you enhance so much frequency, it is wrong or right. Yeah.
Sir, can you just briefly discuss some of the key features related to your simultaneous conversion? I mean, it was not yet discussed. Just in brief, and what can be
sorry,
simultaneous
bias is interference. Bias interference. Can you speak again? Can you pardon? Can you speak?
Uh, yes, sir. Sir, I wanted to know about this simultaneous inversion and how you all are using it in industry. I mean, we can extract a lot of data sets from it
No,
because
no,
it
no.
takes into account.
See. Okay. That's very good question. Actually, when we are talking about pre-stack inversion, so pre-stack inversion is when you are doing on the gather, you will generate the intercept and gradient volume, and you have to again, invert it. Then you will get P impedance and fluid factor and all. But when you use the uh, partial stack, so you generate the when you use the partial stack in simultaneous inversion, actually simultaneous inversion use the partial stack, then you can generate your P impedance, S impedance density simultaneously. Means you get output simultaneously. That's why it is called simultaneous. So if you have P impedance, S impedance, so suppose your lambda rho is suppose a gas and a lambda rho will become. So there is equation IP square minus 2IS square. So if you have P impedance log and S impedance log, you can generate the lambda rho. And similarly mu rho. Mu rho shows your modulus of rigidity. Your how sand is your rigid. I mean quality of your reservoir basically. So mu is equal to IS square. So you can generate so many outputs by using the simple equations, minus subtracting uh, or dividing. Also you can generate by yourself also. Suppose if you don't want to like IP square minus I square, you can use IP square minus under root IP square minus under root IS square. Means you have to first establish at the your well data. Well data, if it is helping to separate your reservoir, you can generate friends number of attributes. There is no worry about it. Okay. So simultaneous inversion, that's why you do simultaneous inversion. You can generate using that derivative attribute when derived by P impedance and density. So that's why simultaneous inversion is quite useful. So we use simultaneous inversion, and nowadays stochastic is also industry are doing, but I will take other lecture. Stochastic is quite wide. So okay. Hope I am clear to you.
Yes, sir. Thank you, sir. So
Yeah.
thanks a lot, sir. I hope.
Yeah. Anybody ask any question or any small big question? Any student? No issue. You can ask. Hello. Yeah. Yeah.
Hello.
Yes. Yes.
Sir. Good evening, sir. Hello.
Yeah. I am listening you.
Sir, my question is how one can categorize tomographic inversion and full waveform inversion, and I want to know that how petroleum and exploration geophysicist is getting benefit from it, and which one is better.
No. Let's see. If you are talking, there is two basically differences. Actually, tomography inversion, if you are doing, so you are actually by tomography you are basically estimating the velocity that used in the pre-stack depth migration, right? So tomography, if you are saying that it is basically from the velocity estimation. So you use the velocity estimation. So in the pre-stack depth migration, you are basically your velocity. So it is useful. Your question is good, because when you tomography, if you compute the better velocity, so you can make your low frequency model very near accurately. Because if low frequency model is not good, then your absolute value of the impedances or S impedances will not good. So there will be always chances of the error. So if due to tomography inversion you can compute your velocity, then it will help the in low frequency model. Second question is your waveform, full waveform expression. It's again we use it. Again full waveform, full wavelet estimation is quite a tedious. So it can be helpful. Full waveform equation inversion, but again uncertainty is involved. So we try to we don't use basically, but we can use. So much. That is a question. Answer behind it.
Sir, if it is better, then why don't we use? Due to cost? or time
No,
taking?
not cost. Cost and full. When you actually what happened? It's a suppose you have only seismic data, right? And you are estimating the wavelength from well to seismic time. Okay, so
Okay, sir.
your I mean basic equation. What equation you are using? That I mean it satisfy only the. I mean it depends on so many approximation, friends. Full wave equation means your data should be ideal, that no noise free and blah blah blah. But in this case, it is a really happen not. That's why we use the approximations. Okay, so we can apply the full wave inversion, no issue. But how the result it will be? That's the issue. I mean, okay, basically uh, everything your approximation you are using, and you are estimating the wavelength from well to seismic tide. Is it wave to seismic tide always correct? No. Suppose your event is not matching, so you are applying the full waveform inversion. You are saying that your wavelength is perfect, and then again it's a problem. Inversion result will be not reliable. That's why. So, mean to say we use, I mean, test pilot project we can do, but we can't do occasionally, right?
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Sir, so you do tomography inversion for better migration velocity?
Yeah. Tomography, see, inversion can happen anywhere. You are missing basic sense. Inversion you can do the in gravity, inversion you can do the electromagnetic, inversion you do seismic data, derive the rock property, and inversion you can do the estimating the velocity also. So if you derived your better velocity, what I am saying, if it you, if you derived your better I mean velocity, so it means your background of the model is very nicely, you have captured the background. So if you capture the background, so you can fit your higher frequency there, right? So your inversion result will be accurate. If your low frequency model is bad, suppose you are populating your impedance, so between two bells there is a suppose low impedance and low impedance at our gas end, but your model showing is a high impedance and so then what happens? It's totally rubbish. So so in tomography inversion, if PHDM model you can done the PHDM I mean migration, we can use the direct PHDM data and velocity also. So it can be beneficial. That's why that only I wanted to say. See, if anything in our science, all everything is on the approximations basically. So we try to improve ourselves. So we can apply anything where our data or our output will improve. So it doesn't mean only I mean tomography inversion better. How will you do the tomography inversion? Again, you have to take basically. Your bell to seismic tie velocity from the bell to seismic tie there in tomographic inversion I am talking you, and you have to use the velocity, which velocity model is using, it is gridding, hybrid and everything. See, so problem is there also. I'm just wanted to share my views that yeah, that can be good, but it cannot be always good. It depends on our data, how our data is good, and what type the area we are dealing. This is how the reservoir is. So hope you understand what I wanted to tell.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. So anybody I am asked.
Thank you, sir.
Yeah.
Hello, sir.
Yeah.
Hello.
Yeah.
Good evening, sir. This is Abhishek Pandey, sir.
Yeah.
Sir, I want to ask, sir, if we are doing simultaneous inversion, any seismic inversion, first we are doing using simulated annealing method, and second time we do this using genetic algorithm method. Sir, what can be the difference between their output?
See. You are doing the algorithm. I will explain it. This is from here sparse spike inversion method. In sparse inversion method, suppose there is a two type: one maximum likelihood and one linear, right? So linear output in linear output, what you do the you are more relying on the background model, and your synthetic should be, I mean, integrated very properly with the model. But in maximum likelihood, what happened? It relies on seismic frequency spectra, which you, I mean, capture, and from using that, it adding and separating the I mean, spikes in the our reflectivity series. So it is an issue. Yeah, you are right. Algorithm is a issue. So slightly better. I mean, in the case, slightly better in result will be in. I mean, maximum likelihood if you are doing the sparse spike inversion. In similarly, if you want, you are saying the annihilating and one other one. What you say?
Genetic algorithm.
Genetic
First one
algorithm.
is Sam.
Yeah, genetic algorithm. Again, when you are using the annihilation, I mean problem, I mean using any annihilation algorithm, your background model should be good basically. Otherwise their issue, I mean that honor most on the background model. And
Okay,
second
sir.
method, yeah. So actually, it is what dependency you are giving. So any algorithm are good and bad. When you have worked in the field, I mean your data for 5 years, you know that how the geology of the area, how the sand variation is going on, how channel levy system are. You know, a lot of input should be there. So it's not only depend on your algorithm. It depend on your interpretation also. So you choose according that.
Okay, sir.
Yeah.
Thank you, sir.
Yeah. Yeah. Any more questions? I am here to.
Sir,
Yeah.
sir, you talked about the bike as a background model or the priority model. Sir, what all things we need to be taking into consideration to generate one? I mean, is it only the geology that we need to be considering for the well?
Yeah. Very good question. Yes. Because that is our problem. What is your name? I mean, I didn't hear your name. Heard your name. I mean, what your name?
Sir, my name is Akash Deep, sir.
Oh, Akash.
Akash.
Akash. Yes. Actually, when you are making your background model, your interpretation should be very reliable. I will not say it 100% true, reliable. So suppose if you are in channel levy system, so you have interpreted the horizon and marked the channel. So what you think that in the channel there will be sand, okay, and outside of channel there will be levy. Okay, so when you're doing your, I mean, background model, if you don't know the area, you can populate anything. That will be the rubbish, garbage in and garbage out. But when your interpretation is good, so you can populate according to that. So that information, first your interpretation should be good, and second your log should be good. I mean, log QC should be your P impedance, S impedance, and density log should be good. I mean, there should be no gap or any spiking. So it is, I mean, you have to consult with petrophysics and your rock survey. Then you interpolate this log data using that horizon. Basically, we filter that data because low frequency model, seismic frequency is present up to 5-6 hertz. So we filter our log data up to 8 hertz or 6-7 hertz, and we interpolate using guiding that horizon. Means our interpretation says that there should be that type of lithology or rock will be there. So that impedance we are populating. So this is a prior model should be good. I mean, we are calling that this is prior model, so prior model should be our interpretation. We are confident. That's why we are giving that. And if it is going to, I mean, fail, so your inversion result is totally, I mean, wrong. Yes, low frequency model or background model is very important. Suppose I will give one example. Suppose you are going to gravity survey. Suppose you are telling that anomaly is coming from any magnetite or any anhydrite, anything. I mean, what you can say. But there is no anhydrite. Your background is fail. So you are correlating with that. There is a semicircular structure, and you are I mean, assuming the anomaly is replicating that, but that is a rectangular. So you should actually, you should know about the geology area. That's why we read the geology. That basin, suppose particular basin we are going, so there is channel level levee system, fine flow system, faulted system. So these area, these information we get from the, the geology, basically. So you have to very strong. Frankly, I'm telling you, if you want to good, inversion or reservoir characterize geophysics, your geology is very strong. See, actually, I am also, from your, great organization like Geophysics, BHP Geophysics. But when I joined the, company, then I read a lot of geology. So background model, according to your question, background model, yes, I will say your interpretation should be, good, and your geology should be, you should know. So you can populate there, and there your prior model will be good, right?
Yes, sir. Thank you, sir. One more question, sir. Sir, although you talked about post-stack inversion, pre-stack inversion, and a lot of different other kind of these two methods. So, how to choose a particular kind of inversion? I have to apply this kind of inversion.
You again ask.
How?
Some interference is there, noise interference. Yeah.
Oh, just asking, sir, how you decide, okay, which kind of inversion I have to apply on a particular data set? Well, how you decide?
Yeah,
I
very
mean,
good.
there are a lot of.
Yeah. So your question is, when we do, how we'll decide we are going to do the post-stack inversion or simultaneous inversion, right?
Yes, sir. This is actually what I wanted to know.
Yeah. See, very, yeah. It's, see, it will decide it first when what is your property at the well. You have to cross plot. If your property is separated only at the p impedance, because your sand is good and clear, so it will come, it will be very well delineated only p impedance. But when solution is complex, like that your reservoir is shelly sand, and there is just so many problems, saturation is less, porosity is less, so you can't, identify this reservoir only doing the post-stack conversion. So you have to go from acoustic property as well as elastic property. Now you have to generate p impedance, s impedance, density, lambda rho, mu rho, Lamy parameter, modulus density, in which it can be separated. You have to do all those things. So if I will question straightforward, if your reservoir is very clean and good, you can, do the post-stack inversion. You can separate the, reservoir. But your reservoir is very complex, shelly sand, all. So solution will be complex. So you have to go for, pre-stack inversion. Yeah.
Thank you, sir. Once again, sir, thank you. And sir, one last question from my side, sir. Sir, how you all do this data conditioning? What are steps that you all take? I mean, you need to be you need to be finding out what kind of phase you are dealing with from the seismic data set, and accordingly,
See,
the
very
data.
good, very good, very good. I got your question basically. Actually, you are asking that if you are going to seismic inversion, what type of data conditioning be applied, right?
Yes,
Hello?
sir. It is. And how you decide the state? Yes, sir. Exactly.
Yeah. I got it. I
Yes,
got it.
sir.
I got your question. Let me answer. Very, it's actually this question is excellent, because these are the problems which you will go for any industry, or you will go for job or good company. Then these are, see, generally we take the process data, and we load this gather data and we analyze. So we do the first thing, we do the gather flattening, because for inversion your gather should be very flattened. So we do the gather flattening. And when we have to do the, suppose, far offset amplitude equalization, one of the term. So if amplitude is not consistent from near to far, so we do the amplitude equalization, because we have to do the AVO inversion. If our offset to far offset amplitude will not good, the AVO will show the wrong picture. So second step is amplitude equalization. Third most step is residual RMO, residual move out. And fourth is slightly amplitude balancing. So if 4-5 step we do in inversion, whether processing geophysics has done or not, it doesn't depend. We do by own. So this basic data conditioning we do. We don't do much because otherwise amplitude. If your amplitude will distracted, then your result will be not good. So amplitude should be preserved. So only 4-5 slight data conditioning we apply in the our gather before going to simultaneous inversion or post stack inversion. Okay.
Sir, once the processing step in the processing step, once applied deconvolution, sir, already the amplitude has been distorted. I mean, once
No,
you
what
apply
is your the
decon,
question? See. What is your name?
Akash,
Akash.
sir.
Don't mix both the thing. Right? Yes, you are right. When we are doing the processing, we are removing the noise, but some signal is there is also chance that can go. That can be distorted. But there is so many steps we take care to preserve. So yeah, of course this is 100%. Recovery is not there, but we believe the processor has done their intellectuality and their ability to do the best data processing basically. So you can ask any, every step when you are doing the migration, again there is a problem. If your migration velocity is not good, your reflector will be not migrated at a good position. So yes, this is the issue, but nowadays technology is so good, so things are good, so don't worry about it. When you will come in my company, then I will show you everything is fine.
Thank you, sir. I always wanted to have a talk with you, sir, because Pawan sir always talks about you, sir.
Okay,
Recently,
friends.
Pawan sir,
Yeah,
thank
you
you
can.
for,
Yeah.
Hello?
Any
thank you,
question?
sir.
Hello?
Yeah.
Hello?
Hello. Yeah.
Yes, sir. Sir, you talked about low frequency model. I have a very basic question, sir. Is its maximum frequency should be about the same as the seismic data's minimum? मतलब seismic data का जो मिनिमम फ्रिक्वेंसी होता है वही हमारे लो फ्रिक्वेंसी का हाईएस्ट बाउंड रखते हैं हम लोग.
हाँ, देखो तुमने जो पूछा है वो बात तो सही. देखो ऐसा है कि हमको जब एब्सोल्यूट बनाना रहता है, हम देखते हैं कि भाई कितना आपके सेस्मिक डेटा में फ्रीक्वेंसी है लोअर एंड में, मान लो 5 to 60 हर्ट्ज है. हाँ, तो हम लोग 5 हर्ट्ज नहीं रखते, 8 हर्ट्ज रखते हैं. कुछ मतलब ओवरलैप रखा जाता है जिससे कि वो जो मर्जिंग हो तो करेक्ट हो, अदरवाइज वहाँ स्पाइक दिखेगा. ठीक है, ये अच्छा क्वेश्चन है, लेकिन हाँ थोड़ा मर्जिंग हम रखते हैं क्योंकि अदरवाइज अगर 5 हर्ट्ज रख दे तो वहाँ पे हमको नॉच दिखने लगेगा जब तुम उसका एम्पलीट्यूड स्पेक्ट्रम कंप्यूट करोगे. ठीक है.
Okay, sir.
You can ask any question from juniors. First year, second year, third year. You can ask. Today I'm free. Okay, if there is no question, it's okay. No, I'm just joking.
Yes, sir. Sir, in the second year, sir, we are very naive to geophysics, so we don't know actually what to ask.
No, I'm just telling you because see, I'm a professional, not a professor. So I would like to give you whatever I have knowledge, right? Okay. So
Yes,
so
sir.
you can ask anything, or you can go my paper also that I have published, so that you can ask anything. And Satyam know my email ID. You can ask from there also. And I'm very happy. You people are very enthusiastic, and you people doing so great job. Really, it's appreciable. Recognizing the
Thank you,
event
sir.
and really it's appreciable.
Thank you, sir.
Yeah.
Hello, good evening, sir.
Yeah, good evening.
Sir, if suppose we want to do seismic inversion,
Yeah.
what should we have to do?
What
Means
should we have to do?
what data we required for it?
Oh, I have told you. I think you don't listen my presentation carefully. Suppose you are going to do the seismic inversion. I have told you in the workflow of the seismic. You have to build data. You have to the horizons. you have to the gather or post stack data, right? These three, four things, and you have to VSP data. These 4, 5 things will be necessary. Otherwise, you won't do the inversion. Okay.
Sir, suppose we have seismological data with a
Seismological means
seismometer.
what? What seismological data? If you are
Seismometer. We have
seismometer. Okay.
seismometers
Okay.
data.
Okay.
Can you able to convert this into seismic data to analyze velocity analysis or finding depth
See,
model?
no, you can do. I mean, inversion can happen, no issue. But see that when you are recording, I mean, Sudhakar, your name is Sudhakar, na? Yeah.
Yes,
Yeah,
Sudhakar. Yes.
yeah, Sudhakar. So actually, suppose any earthquake happens, right? You are asking me seismology. I have read 15 years back, but I can answer it. No problem. So
Okay.
inversion is inversion. So suppose you record one kind of seismometer in Varanasi and in Sultanpur and one Allahabad, and there is so many data set you have. Then we we apply the ray tracing and we do the inversion. No issue. Inversion will happen, but data should be more.
Okay.
Okay. I mean, seismic data, you can say there is especially it is 25 meter, or in line data it is 100 meters. So it's closely. You can do inversion, but you have only then regional picture, right?
Okay.
Regional picture, where is your thrust, where is your fault, major fault. You can, I mean, judge, but yeah, you can do the inversion. Inversion
Sir,
means inversion. You can do any
okay.
type of inversion.
Suppose we have installed seismometer within 100 meters of area. I mean, 10 we have installed one. We have done one work, sir.
So what work
We
you have
want
done,
to
Sudhakar?
in our university. I am from basically Nanded, Maharashtra. In our
No.
university,
Yeah.
yeah, in our university we have put a instrument within hundreds of meters area.
Okay.
So from that data, can you able to do inversion, sir?
100 meter, you see, you can inversion for one single trace, yeah, no issue. You can
Okay,
do.
okay, okay.
You can single trace, you can invert, because when we are inverting the first, when we QC the data, we inverting at the well only. So one trace you can
Okay.
invert, no issue. Okay.
Okay. Okay,
Okay.
sir. Okay.
Okay. So
Thank you, sir.
okay.